What's up, you guys? I'm Natasha. This is Shepherding Peppers Farm, and it is time for another garden tour. So this will be the second week of the fall garden, and I need to do a lot of harvesting today. I need to clear out a lot of the stuff that we had from earlier this summer. Certain things will grow back, like our basil, which is fine, but things are trying to go to seed because it's the end of the season, and we need to do a massive amount of harvesting. So that's what we're doing. We're gonna walk around the garden. We're gonna get a lot of food out of here. We're gonna talk about what we have growing and enjoy the beauty and the coolness of the fall garden. So in this first raised bed right here, we have peppers that are growing on the front side of this trellis. The majority of these are Ashe County pimento peppers. These got a little bit of a later start, but we do have a couple more months in the growing season, so we should get some good fruit off of these still. I mean, look at this guy. Isn't that beautiful? That's a really good looking bell pepper. And this plant isn't even very large. I've just been neglecting it. You can see I'm right in through here. I'm going to take these smaller ones because these plants aren't super big. It will help them to develop more roots and to grow bigger and larger fruit if I am pulling the peppers while they are small. Now on this trellis though, there really isn't anything planted. I need to come through and plant something for the fall on here, like peas or something of that nature. This is a Tokyo green cucumber that has been attacked by pickleworms, so I'm gonna leave this as a sacrifice. A lot of times when I notice that there is fruit that has already been bored into by pickleworms, I'll leave it and let it grow because it's already there, they're already eating it. Maybe it'll draw other moths and critters to that particular plant, and then I won't lose something else because I took something down that they were already enjoying, if that makes sense. So, also with these peppers, we still have our typical first frost date is about the third week in November on average. So we still have 6 to 7 weeks for these peppers to get a little bit bigger, more mature, and produce us more fruits. These are, I thought for a long time that these were my Etuda peppers. In fact, I even wrote it in the garden tours that these were Etuda peppers. However, they are not. These are actually sheep nose peppers. I recently went through and organized my seed collection. Seth helped me, and then we got actual storage bins for it because seed saving as a hobby and actually growing the seeds are two completely different things, it would appear. But while I was looking through my seeds, I noticed that the Etuda peppers, which is what these were supposed to be, which are supposed to ripen to a really beautiful orange color, and they're supposed to be similar in width but thicker, you know, longer. I don't want to list the seed company I got it from because I don't want to say bad things about the seed company, and this is literally the first error that I have had from them in all my years of getting seeds from them. But these ripen to a red color, and they are definitely sheep nose peppers because they don't get a whole lot longer than this. This is kind of where they stay, whereas my Etuda peppers, the ones I had wanted, are, you know, a couple of inches and they ripen to an orange color. And if you go on the website, you can identify that these are absolutely what those are. So I think there was just a seed mix-up this year. It happens from time to time with seed companies. They have a really large inventory, so it's not unlikely that if you've been growing for any length of time, you're going to occasionally get some seeds that you hadn't intended to get. So no harm, no foul. We'll just grow those ones next year. These are actually really great peppers for slicing up and putting on pizza if you make homemade pizza. The short stubbiness of them make them very easy to slice up, and they're just awesome for that purpose. So I'm not sad about that. Look at that. If you couldn't tell by the name, peppers are my jam. The way some people love tomatoes is the way that I love peppers. Peppers are my favorite vegetable. I can eat them all day, every day. So I am mildly obsessed with growing every variety of pepper that I can get my hands on, minus the really, really hot ones. Nobody's going to be growing a, Carolina Reaper in this garden. I've got babies and I like them unharmed. So we do have a few habanero plants though. I just remembered why this bucket wasn't out here. We were harvesting Jerusalem artichokes just the other day and I left them in the garage. We need to finish doing that too, but that's not in this garden. That's in another part of the property. But because we have 7 weeks left roughly before our first estimated frost, I think I'm going to strip the garden pretty bare today. That way I could possibly get one more really decent sized harvest of peppers. I'll probably be able to pull some throughout the weeks. That won't be an issue because I'm not going to take the super tiny ones. But if I pull a lot of good sized peppers today, I should be able to get a really decent harvest again before that first frost. So look at that gorgeous monster of a pepper. I'm really excited to try overwintering peppers with you guys. This will be the first year that I hopefully do it the right way. We will see. I've heard really good things about overwintering them and them growing quicker and starting stronger. And I would love to get peppers this size earlier in the season next year. But peppers take a really long time from seed to grow to a point root-wise and bush-wise to be able to develop peppers like these. So I started these pepper seeds in January of this last year, grew them in the house, technically in the garage with grow lights and heater. It is now the first week of October and I'm just starting to get these really massive bell peppers that are just ginormous. So I think it could be very beneficial to overwinter them and give them that huge jump start, having the root system already in place. We're gonna try it. All right, over here in this next bed, one of the first things that you'll notice is that we have a volunteer tomato growing back. I highly doubt we'll get any fruit off of it, but I'm gonna leave it. This is sweet basil, and I am going to remove these seed heads and whack this down to pretty much nothing and harvest all of this and take this in the house to preserve it. This right here is dark purple opal basil, and then you'll notice behind here on the trellis, which you'll see better on the other side, these are all brassicas. All in through here. And some mushrooms as well. I don't actually know what type of mushrooms these are. This is not my area of expertise, so I kind of just avoid them. But all throughout here, this is a mix of Waltham broccoli, and I did free seed some carrots in here. I planted these carrots in the most obnoxious way humanly possible. Other gardeners would be ashamed of me. I don't feel bad about it. I have massive amounts of carrot seeds because I let a lot of these go to flower this spring and I saved all the seeds. So instead of having to really be diligent with it, I took the seeds and just flung them out. They're sprouting exceptionally well. I'm very happy. Now over here, this is a Waltham butternut squash that is in a very odd position on the trellis, but I'm gonna let it do its thing. There's some more in through here on the other side that we should be able to harvest too. My Tahitian melon that was in there doesn't appear to be doing super well. It seems like it's done. The bugs got to it. All in through here, you can see lots and lots of sweet potatoes. And this is a carrot from earlier this year. I'm sure this is exceptionally woody and unedible at this point. So I'm going to leave this in here and possibly just let this go to flower. I believe this is a purple dragon carrot, but I'd have to check. All in through here, these are all sweet potatoes. There's another volunteer tomato. And if we come around, this is the giant Indian snake bean slash winged bean section. So these right here are Japanese winged beans, and they are very prolific and beautiful. And over in through here, this is our giant Indian snake bean. And do you remember when I was telling you that this would start to turn red and orange when it was ripe? This is finally starting to ripen. And on top of that, this is Kikuzi squash that has made its way over onto this trellis as well. These winged beans are incredibly prolific, which is pretty cool. I will say I did plant these in the spring and they didn't germinate. So my assumption was that they weren't going to do anything. I had probably not given them enough of a chance to start growing, given the fact that I put the giant Indian snake bean on this side and the winged beans over here on this side. And they just started growing this fall and they took off and they've done really, really well. The texture is a little odd. It's a winged bean. It's going to be a little strange. But the flavor isn't terrible overall. Like normal children, my kids will eat pretty much any vegetable that has ranch on it. So I'm going to try stir frying these. I haven't done it yet, but we're almost there. So I'm going to harvest as many of these as I can. I don't over stress about harvesting the top of the trellis. And the reason is because, number one, I'd have to climb into the bed and everything, and we got lots of bad spiders out here. Lots of good spiders, but also lots of bad ones. But anything that grows on the top over there that I don't get to, I can just save that for seeds for next year without having to worry about it if I just don't over stress about harvesting every little thing. I mean, look at this guy. This one's already pretty massive. The majority of these snake beans are only about a foot long, so I'm going to leave them. The one that's starting to ripen behind me this is a monster. This is easily 6 feet long, and it's starting to get really squishy. It feels like skin that isn't attached to your body, kind of. Ooh. But I'm excited to save seeds from it. But this right here is the cuckoozy invading and taking over absolutely everything in the garden. So as we come through here, now there is nothing planted on this trellis really. The Waltham butternut has just started taking off on its own. It's been pretty prolific, so I'm pretty happy with that. I'm going to take these though. Butternuts are probably my favorite variety of squash, and I love them. They store really, really well if you have the patience to let them store. My kids and I will devour these. Now if we continue up and through here, again, nothing really planted on this trellis. I need to come through and do that for sure. But we have, this is green cauliflower right in through there. Lots of carrots, you can see them. Hopefully you can see them. And then more green cauliflower, and then that is a Waltham broccoli. We come forward, what you're going to see here is the loofah gourd. I'm also going to see some more peppers. Hooray! Now as you can see, we have some that are a really beautiful dark green color. As you can see, there are definitely some that are lightning. This is a much lighter green color than, say, this guy over here, which is still really dark. These will, however, turn brown or very close to brown when they are going to be at their easiest to shuck and save for sponges. Hi, sweetie. You can see it's already got some brown speckling on it right here. It is possible to take loofah gourds at any stage and turn them into sponges for the most part, once they're a decent size. However, it's easiest to shuck them and clean them and seed them when they are as brown as possible. So that's what we're going to do. You'll see right here, that one's getting pretty brown. Loofahs last a really long time in the kitchen. We use them to clean our dishes, we use them in our shower, we use them to scrub our countertops. They are wonderful for that. They are fantastic. I've actually been thinking about using the loofahs this year because this was a volunteer. I didn't actually plant any loofahs this year. This just grew here on its own. And I didn't plant it because we still have a lot of loofahs left over from last year. So my idea was that we would grow the loofahs every other year so we could maintain sponges in our house for that purpose. And then they're also biodegradable. I can throw them in the compost when they start to get worn out. I can throw them in the dishwasher to wash them off, and they don't ever have that gross sponge smell. So loofahs are wonderful. I was thinking this year we would harvest some of these and make some homemade soap and give that to some friends for Christmas gifts. I thought that would be really, really nice, and we'll have to do that together. These are getting very close to being done though, and as you can see, they're very prolific. Now at the base, this is white scallop squash. It is already starting to get powdery mildew. I'm not worried about it. I really don't care because squash just doesn't grow exceptionally well here unless you take strong preventative measures. We've already gotten several fruits off of it, and I'm more than okay with that. I appreciate what the plant has given us, and I'm not going to over worry about anything like that. You can see the vine borers definitely got to whatever it was that was growing in here. I think it was a little pumpkin, and I've just made peace with it. You can see there are several little teeny tiny fruits that are growing all over here. Now over in through here, this is a squash. These, I believe, are chocolate bell peppers. Lots of little fruits over here. I did plant some peas on this trellis right here. I don't know how well they're going to do. They look like they have a little bit of sunburnt damage, but we'll just have to wait and see. Oh, that's a nice size. I had the patience to let it ripen. Over and through here, you can see I have some seeds that are growing and starting. We've got lettuce and spinach. We've got some kale, more brassicas. There's just a bunch of stuff growing in through here. Over and through here, this is a mangini pepper. Those are very, very good. This is kale that's been planted right in through here, and this is more Georgia Sherdo peppers. This right here is, what is this actually? That's a good question. I think that this is mustard. I had a label in here. I know I did. Oh, there it is. What is this? Let's see. No, this is Asian cabbage. And then we do have some peas that are planted on this trellis in this next bed. These are the Mexican sunflowers. Do you see how big and bushy these have gotten? They're enormous. Love those. They look really good. Definitely spilling out of the bed just a little bit. Great. Now over here, these are fava beans. Lantos fava beans that are growing. Those look nice. And then in here, we have, can you see? These right here, these are swallowtail butterfly caterpillar larvae. And they are all over these giant carrots. I have let them eat the tops. They can go ahead and cocoon in here if they want to, and then I will take this netting back and let these fly away. All through here though, we have different cabbages. So I have this covered because we get really bad pest pressure out here, and I have all of my cabbages in this bed, or at least a good chunk of them. I've got some golden acre cabbages, some red acre cabbages, a couple of those giant cabbages from Baker Creek, and I really didn't want these to get eaten to smithereens. I will say that the brassicas that I currently have that are uncovered in the garden have gotten eaten down. Not all of them, but at least a decent portion of them. So covering them while they are in their tiny stage has helped significantly reduce the damage, which means that the plants should grow bigger, better, and stronger for when the cold actually does come. Things like cabbages and kale taste sweeter and are less bitter after they've experienced a frost. So if you have the ability to put them in the ground a little bit earlier, let them get big and mature before they experience that first frost, it's going to positively impact them rather than negatively impact them. Your food will taste better, which is always a good thing. So for us being in the south, this is a necessity. They're also extremely frost hardy, meaning as long as we don't get temperatures that are like 10 degrees, they should grow just fine without protection. Whereas if they were still super tiny, they would definitely need some sort of covering on them to help them sustain that cold temperature. But once these plants are bigger and more developed, they're not going to need cold protection. They're going to be just fine where we're growing here. This is the not so pretty side of the cuckoozy squash. You can see where it's definitely dying back over and through here. You can see we have more volunteer loofahs up there that no one needs at this point, and how massive and monstrous this cuckoozy has gotten to be. The other sheep are mad because I let Coco into the garden so she can kind of mow it down in here. But Dottie, our other sheep, she will hop into the garden bed and actually eat the sweet potatoes. So Dottie's not allowed in here. Now Coco does that. Coco's out too. Alright, so cucuzzi, which is an Italian edible gourd. It is a wonderful substitute for zucchini. One of the best that I've found that is not in the squash family. Awesome, 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 awesome gourd. This has been one of the most productive gourds I have ever grown. I don't know, all gourds are exceptionally productive, but this has just been through the roof. Ideally, you want to harvest these when they're 18 to 24 inches, same as the giant Indian snakeweed, and you want to still be able to kind of put your fingernail through the flesh because it can be very difficult to cook with it if you can't do that. So we're going to see the same thing over here. This is golden acre cabbage right there, and then this is an early Jersey cabbage that still looks like it might have gotten eaten a little bit. Over here we have the same golden acre cabbage. This is a red cabbage right in through here, and these are the giant cabbages. Over here we have another ripe watermelon. Watermelon is great if you grow it at home, and I'm going to tell you why. The majority of time when you read something on Google, you'll notice that they always err on the side of caution, food preservation wise. So if you harvest a fully ripe watermelon at home, most information is going to tell you that you can store it for, 4 weeks. If you leave it on the counter or in a cabinet or in a pantry. I have had watermelons that have been wonderful up to 8 weeks. Not all of them, but I think you can push it out to 6 weeks. So if you harvest a watermelon like this and you put it in an area that doesn't get a lot of light, it's not overly humid, it's not hot. For me, that's my entertainment center in the living room because I don't have a pantry. I can put this there for about 6 weeks and still have fresh watermelon to enjoy, and it's delicious. So right now I could be eating this watermelon into November. So it's one of the perks of growing melons like this at home. Now something like a red cantaloupe isn't going to do the same thing. You might get about a week out of it, but watermelons are excellent. Now again, most of these melon vines are going to come out really soon, so I don't have to worry about it anymore. We do have a couple of canary melons, I think that's what those are. And then this is the Toronto red coxcomb. This is beautiful. My kids also love this because it feels like velvet when you touch it. It makes a really pretty bouquet. These are Walton broccolis right through here. And this is the sweet pepper section. So you have a combination of the chortashierdo peppers and the mangini peppers. There's a few of those sprinkled in. These I will probably let turn red because the kids really enjoy snacking on red peppers. However, the majority of my bigger bell pepper types I'll take inside to preserve. So these are the Pippin's Golden Honey Peppers. They start out a really dark purple. They're really beautiful. We also have some Purple Beauty mini bells in here too. But these ripen from that purple color to a green and then orange and finally a mix of this red liquid honey color. It's beautiful. And they're very good peppers. Over here we have some more bells, and then these are our Italian pepperoncinis. I'm going to strip this plant pretty bare in a minute. So these are pepperoncinis. These are Italian pepperoncinis. There are two different types of pepperoncini plants, Greek pepperoncinis and Italian pepperoncinis. Greek pepperoncinis typically don't have much heat in them unless they are the ones from the grocery store where they add heat to the peppers. But Italian pepperoncinis have a Scoville between 0 and 500, so they can have a little bit of heat to them. But Greek pepperoncinis are typically much more mild. I love growing peppers and being able to can them and put them up in the pantry because it saves us money. And with a super big family like we have, money saving, especially when it comes to groceries right now in the United States. Oh my gosh, it's crazy. Prices have through the roof lately, so growing peppers like this that I can on my own, and the cost of the pepper, I mean the seed packet was what, like $3, and then you need vinegar, which is very inexpensive, salt, sugar, and water. I can grow a ton of these, put them up in the pantry, and it saves us money. Especially when we like things like Italian salads with pepperoncinis and basically like mock Olive Garden salads all throughout the winter because our lettuce doesn't grow at the same time as our peppers. We can put these up and then have those salads throughout the winter, and it's so good. These are hot wax peppers. I'm going to harvest a good chunk of these again. If you remember, about 3 weeks ago, yeah, we stripped this plant completely bare, and look how loaded it is with fruit. So, it's good to pick your peppers. Now, the hot wax peppers make a good, more mild hot sauce, but they also are a really good, just medium spicy pepper that you can put up if you enjoy spicy peppers, like pickled spicy peppers. So, and think about it, if you're making soups or chilies or stews or things like that, and you can throw some peppers in there. Dottie and Ram Chop are mad that they're not in the garden. Some more Blazia sweet peppers. More Pippins. As we work our way down, we have more of the purple opal basil in through here. And again, we're going to harvest a lot of this basil in a moment. This is our sweet basil, and then we also have some Genovese basil down here. This is spicy globe basil. It has gone to seed and I have been free seeding it. I like to do this with my herbs where I either ignore it or throw the seeds back in the bed and they grow back. Right in through here, these are cosmos. These got damaged in the tropical storm as well. More Wilton broccoli, and then we have some winter peas right here. I believe that these ones are snow peas. I could be wrong though, because I didn't really label that very well. And then in through here, we have a lot of broccoli. I really wanted to put up a lot of broccoli this year in the freezer. Last year just wasn't a super great harvesting year for broccoli and cauliflower. We still got enough to enjoy, and we have a big family, so I'm sure for somebody who had like a smaller family, they would have gotten plenty, but for us, we will roast broccoli on a cookie sheet in the oven. It's so good. I will eat an entire tray on my own. They're wonderful. So I really wanted to make a conscious effort this year to plant a ridiculous amount of broccoli and cauliflower in the garden. I've even been considering starting some more and putting it in the perennial garden, since a perennial garden takes forever to be established, and I have the space for an in-ground garden over there right now. I might use it. I really want to put a ton up in the freezer to be able to use all year. My goal is to eat seasonally as much as possible, but also to put things up in the freezer or in the pantry canning wise, that in between seasons when we're changing over the garden and the harvest really isn't there, we have food already available to us that is from the garden. And you'll notice near the broccolis, lots of these little greens coming up. This is lettuce that was free seeded. I just threw the lettuce seeds in, and we're just gonna let what comes up come up, essentially. This right here, I believe, is a cauliflower of some variety. I don't know which, but it's clearly a cauliflower. You can tell by the leaves that I hacked down at the end of last year, and it decided to grow back. This is a surprise watermelon that's ready. Wasn't aware of that little guy in there. I'm not even sure what variety that is. Now over and through the back side of this bed, we've got some jalapenos. Trying to let one of each ripen so I can know for sure what variety of jalapeno it is. This is a hot paprika right here. You let these turn red and then you'll have spicy paprika to put in your dehydrator and blend up. We've got several of those plants. They've been really prolific. They've done a great job. These hot paprikas make a really good spicy diced green chili, and that's probably what we're going to do with these. I think we're going to do a lot of pepper canning this week. I think we're going to have to. So. This right here is a rainforest chili pepper. These are about as hot as a cayenne, and they're these little red firecrackers that are super cool looking. Some more of them here too. Really starting to come in now, which is nice. These are Anaheim peppers right here. And then this is a Craig's Grande jalapeno. Not quite at its grande stage yet, but that's okay. We've been harvesting several of these and enjoying them. These make a really good cut up pickled jalapeno to put in your pantry. This is more of the lemon drop watermelons. These have been very prolific. Now these are again fava beans. These are broad fava beans. Right over here, these are Lesia sweet peppers. They have a really funny bell shape sometimes. And then we have more of the chocolate beauties down in through here. So we work our way down. We have our Cubanelle sweet peppers. These are delicious. These have been wildly productive. I really loved the Cubanelle peppers. They've been just awesome. These are mini baby bells, red mini baby bells, saved from seeds from the grocery store. You can see they're really cute little red peppers. My son, who is almost 3, his birthday is this week, really loves these. These are great. And then over here, the greenery that you're seeing come up, these are radishes, and then we have some echinacea that is planted at the bottom. More tuta peppers. This is where the onions have been started. This is Dottie, my naughty sheep. All right, over here is the bush beans. I haven't uncovered this or looked at this, so we need to do that. Dottie will no doubt complain the entire time because Coco is in the garden and she's not. So these right here are Blue Lake bush beans. They've been covered because we did not really get any of a green bean harvest this year, and I like to have that in my pantry. It's time to see what is going on. So this right here is Genovese basil. This is my favorite basil for pesto, and then you can see we are starting to get some blooms down here. These are putting off runners, so if this continues, these are going to be Blue Lake pole beans planted in bush format, hopefully. Typically my Blue Lake beans don't put off runners, so that's interesting. That's the fun of using new seed companies, so that's interesting. We're going to have to see where that goes. Over here we have more bell peppers. And right through here, this is flat-leafed mizuna. We also have curly-leaf mizuna, which we really enjoy. This is great in salads. You can see all the bell peppers growing in through here. We're gonna harvest a lot of these. It's gonna be wonderful in just a moment. Hi, my Cocos. These are the cucamelons. You can see we're getting fruits up there finally, which is really exciting. We've been enjoying snacking on these. These are really fun, just great snacking little cucumbers. My kids love these. These are all jalapenos. These are producing really well. Again, I have to let these ripen so I can see what color they are. I have to leave at least one of these on here so I can tell what it is, because I planted lemon spice jalapenos and orange spice jalapenos and all sorts of different peppers in here, and then the labels got mixed up because the kids helped me. These are more of the rainforest chilies, and this is Seth's favorite pepper. It's a purple cayenne. What is this again? A bueno mulata hot pepper. So these are really pretty. I actually won those seeds. I didn't buy them. I won those seeds from a photo contest from a picture of the garden that was used in a gardening group for South Carolina. That was last year, so that's pretty cool. So this is the Rimpicante squash. It clearly prefers being grown on the ground versus the trellis, and I think a big part of that is, one, it exposes the vines more readily to the borers when it is hanging up here, and two, in 90-degree weather, these get very hot, and I don't think the plant particularly enjoys that, whereas the ground, although it will warm up, can stay moist longer, and it will have a cooler feeling than this metal up here. So in the future, I will probably grow this on the ground. I harvested one of these yesterday, and as you can see, there's more fruits over here. I was able to save seeds from this variety as well because it is variegated, which I love. I think this coloring is absolutely gorgeous. This right here is Marvel of Four Seasons lettuce, left over from last year that is bolting. I'm just going to keep snipping it off at the base or ripping it out of the bed on accident, and it will regrow if it's left in there. I put carrots all in through here. These are St. Valerie carrots that you're going to see very, very soon. All in through here we have golden beets that are starting to come up again. I call it free seeding, where you just throw it in the ground. That's where those come from. This trellis could absolutely use something being put on it for the fall. That's probably something I need to prioritize doing this week. This is an anthill right here that I need to treat with some borax. These are cayenne peppers. We're letting these turn red because they make the most wonderful hot sauce when you let them turn red. Trying to be mindful as I don't want to irritate the ants. They are mean. Look how lovely they are. So fluffy. I'm just producing so much beautiful fruit. I'm so excited. I love them. These are my favorite. I definitely want to overwinter these because they're just so amazing. But yeah, these will turn a beautiful peachy color. I'm going to try to leave them for you guys and for me. Now over here, these are big gems and they're massive. So big gems can get up to a foot in length. These are huge. They will turn red. All through here, these are serrano peppers. We picked a few of these just the other day for a video that I was doing, and as you can see, we have a million more to pick. And these are Fresno chilies. These are mild heat as well, so they're good for adding into hot sauce. They make a good mix. They're really good hot little peppers. They're very prolific too. These got started probably the latest in the garden out of all the peppers, and they are very heavy laden with fruit. Over here, these are poblanos. This is my little poblano pepper patch. Poblanos look a lot like bell peppers, but they have a much darker green skin to them. It's one of the ways you can tell them apart. Look at that. All right, you guys, that is going to wrap up the garden tour portion of this morning. It is now time to take all this food inside and drink some coffee and give myself a break. So I enjoyed hanging out with you guys this morning. I will see you in the next video. Bye, y'all.